what we were gonna do, so.
Well, I wanted to just basically talk to you. I mean, as you can see, the type of questions that I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, you know, how did you get into CPR? Like, I mean, I've known you for a while. I know that you're constantly teaching classes. You're constantly doing these forums and talking about it. So I just want to, like, I want you to open up and tell us what made you get into it. What made you get into CPR and why?
Why? Because it saves lives. And I love people, and I think it's very important that people know this. And there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to do CPR. And if there's ever a catastrophe in this world, we need to come together and help each other. Just like the Vegas situation, you know? If there would have been more people that knew how to do CPR and so forth, there may have been more lives saved, who knows?
I agree.
You know, there wasn't enough people there with the chaos that took place. So, you know, and people panicked. You don't need to panic.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost. You know, if you ever come into a situation where you need to do CPR or first aid to anyone, don't panic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that difficult if you don't panic.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, it's very important. I mean, I got into CPR because, again, like I said, I love people and I want people to save people if they can.
Mm.
That's what it's all about, you know?
Humanity, helping
yes,
humanity.
yes, which our country has lost.
I agree.
You know,
it is a little bit of there's a hardcore division that's going on right now.
Yes.
And what I was talking to Andy and Ashley about before is maybe safety is something that can bring us all together some way, somehow. I don't know why, I don't know what, but for some reason, I mean, we can hope that for some reason, like, safety could be that, because we all want to be safe.
That's right.
So maybe safety could bring us all together in some way, some effect.
Well, because there's going to be a catastrophe. There's going to be down the line sometime.
I agree.
And we all need to be prepared. People can't turn their heads and act like nothing's ever going to happen.
True.
You know, there's so much happening right now.
Yes.
Even a lot we don't even hear about under the table stuff, you know, that's going on. And we need to be aware and be aware of how to help these people when something does hit here.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, and it's like the more people you train, you have
cohesion.
knowing this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it could go down anywhere.
Oh,
this
yeah.
catastrophe could go down anywhere, and the more people you have trained, you know, the more chances that they're going to be.
There's not enough police officers out there. There's not enough EMTs out there.
That's right.
So if we as people help, then they've got that assistance in addition, you know, and that's you know, you're getting closer to 100% assistance, you know, if you get people involved. And that's very important. You want people to know this stuff.
Yes, that's what we want to, with Speak Safety, that's what we want to do. We want to push it out to the masses. We want to encourage people because for some reason, I don't know, it's like you were saying, like the guys at the quarries.
Yes.
You know, they kind of see it as like, oh, all right, it's an everyday thing, whatever. I'm just doing it.
Right.
Just get past it and go
Right.
to work.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's like they have these issues. They have something going wrong. They go look back at that moment where they just slacked off a little bit, and you know, there goes their arm.
That's
their
right.
hand,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or their life. Oh,
Exactly.
God forbid,
I mean, I've had guys even in my classes, my CPR classes, tell me, you know, I froze.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to freeze. You know, when you see a person down, you need to take charge. You need to take charge. Don't let that fear get you. You know, because a lot of people have fear and they think if I do something wrong, I'm gonna. That person's already pretty much gone if they're in CPR mode. You can't do anything worse to them other than help them.
Yeah, very true.
So they need to be open-minded like that and realize no fear needs to be involved. Just get in there and do it.
Yes, people need to know that.
Yes.
And that's what I want to reiterate. That's what we want to do here.
Yeah.
We want people to be brave and have courage to help our fellow man.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
We really want that, and you know, it's just something that I feel that, you know, people look past important things too much.
Yes.
And I think
people get in the ruts of their own lives.
Exactly.
You know, they just are so into their own lives and what's going on in their own lives, and they don't look beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I teach my classes, I say to people, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to happen at work. It can happen at home.
Yes.
You know, you've got to be aware that this stuff can be used at home too.
Yes.
First aid and CPR. It's more common to happen at home even. You've got to be prepared. What if your father or mother's visiting and one of them drop and you don't have those skills? chances are by the time the EMTs get there, they're gonna be gone. And you've watched it.
You're right. I was gonna save this little testimony for the end, but I figure since this would be a perfect segue into it. But me taking your class after when we were getting certified for TIGWA protection, you had taught us. Not even 3 months after that, I saved my child's life from he was choking, and I went right into action, and I did all the techniques that you
that
had
gives me the
taught.
chills.
You really, and me and Yoshi still talk to, we talk about it to this day. And when I told her I was gonna come talk to you, she goes, Frankie, please tell her, you should tell her. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to get emotional, I don't want to get emotional. But, yeah.
We don't hear those stories. We go in and train people and we leave, and then, we don't see them for 2 years again, so we have to retrain.
Mm-hmm.
And people forget,
Yes.
they're in their own lives and, doing their own thing at work, and they forget to tell stories like that. And that makes me feel great, that actually it embedded into your brain when I was there, and that's very important.
I paid attention, and my son started choking, and my Yoshi, she kind of froze up, which
mamas do.
Yes,
mamas do.
Yeah, and she's yelling for me, and I was in the shower, and I ran out of the shower just totally in my birthday suit.
Well,
and
that's okay.
I ran up, and she handed him to me, and he was turning blue.
Oh.
And I grabbed him, and I did everything that you taught, and I got him to breathe again, and he. Yeah.
Look at that smile.
I'm trying to get all crazy.
Look at that smile on your face, though.
I don't want to get all emotional.
But you know what? It does happen at home. And people.
That's when it happens.
People, when they take the class, some of them are kind of like, they're just figuring it's just work stuff. And I'm like, no. You need to understand this goes home too.
It does.
This goes in the malls you walk in.
Yes.
This goes in the car wash you go to.
That's right.
I mean, it can happen anywhere, anytime. And you've got to have this knowledge to help other people, humans.
Exactly right. So I just want to tell you that I'm very grateful for you, and that's why when me and Ashley and Andy were talking about doing a podcast about safety, right away you clicked into my head, and I was like, I need to get her on here because she's such a lively person. She's informative. She has all that you need to know about CPR. She's been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
It's been about 9 years now.
Yeah, 9 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you got into it, like what made you get into it besides just helping people? Was there like a certain?
I'll tell you what triggered it. I'll be honest with you. I was working another type of job, and Brian came home one day and he said, I've got the greatest job for you. Because he knows my personality.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a people lover.
Yeah.
And I love to help anyone I can with whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, CPR and first aid training. And I looked at him and I thought, wow, that would be awesome. Because I could teach people how to save other people. And if they really remember my information I give them, and that happens to them, that would just be, it would fulfill my heart. And there you are.
Yeah.
That's even just one person having it work, doing it, staying calm and applying it and knowing they saved someone. Just, that's all we want. Mm-hmm. That's all we want as CPR people.
Nice.
That's what got me into it.
Yeah.
I thought, that's a fantastic idea, so I went and got educated in it and got certified and started it right away. Quit that other job and started doing my thing. Right. And I've been in it since, and I love it.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah. And Brian, he's very involved in safety. You were saying,
yes, very involved.
So he knows, like, he can detect, do it, and it's just that you guys are like two peaches in a pod.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's so aware even at home. Mm-hmm. Even when we do constructive things at home, he is on his game at all times because safety is number one to him. Mm-hmm. So therefore, there's never been any injuries at home doing things because he looks ahead.
Yes.
You've got to look ahead in a situation. You got to say, what could happen if we do this? What are the things that could transpire? And that's how Brian lives his life.
Nice.
And so my kids have never had injuries, and even on motorcycles and stuff, because Brian has fed them safety ahead of time.
Yes, that's what you want.
Knowledge.
Yes, and that's our main goal here. That's what we want to do. We want to sit down with you, and we want these people to look and hear us speak, hear you speak about everything that's important and vital about CPR, and then take that and be like, you know what? I need to get involved with that. I need to update my CPR.
Yes,
I need to get my wife trained. I need to get my kids trained.
Yes,
you know what I mean? 'Cause it's so vital.
That's so true, and I've had families do that. Call me into their homes, and because I travel anywhere, so it's like they call me into their homes to do family training.
Yes.
They got a pool. They're worried.
Yes.
You know, very important. You know, you definitely want everybody to know what to do. There's so many people that lose children that way. They're having a party and they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
And a 2-year-old walks right into that pool and nobody knows it. And then someone finds them at the bottom of the pool.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
That there's no reason for that to happen. None.
Not at all.
None at all. Awareness.
Yes, awareness and understanding. You get
Yes.
the awareness of it. You're aware of what could potentially happen.
That's right.
You anticipate
That's
that,
right.
and then you understand you understand the techniques of how to counter that.
That's right.
Every single way.
That's right. And it's a constant thinking. It's a constant way of thinking.
Yes.
You know, it's not just, oh, if I'm at a party or something, you know. It's everyday thinking.
Yes.
Everyday thinking.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, well, I was going to try to save my testimony towards the
I
end.
love your testimony. It perfectly fit right there.
Yes, so I'm just going to tell you that Yoshi thanks you very much,
Aw.
and she told me to, when I bring it up, when I talk to you, to tell
Aw.
you that she said thank you.
Well, you're also a very big part of it for listening
Yeah, we did.
and soaking it in.
Yes, oh man, I really did. I tried to.
There's a lot of people that sit there and they're in their other world.
Yeah.
You know, and I can tell,
Mhm.
you know, that I'm not getting through there, you know, and so I try to maintain a very active class so people are actively involved.
Mhm.
And I try to get them as excited about it as I am.
Yeah,
And that's important.
Mhm.
You got to pull them out of their own world.
I agree. You know what? That's another thing I was going to ask you too. How do you promote safety awareness, CPR? Like, do you have a certain technique or a certain, I don't know, terms or something that you use often to get people curious or to gain intrigue from people to want to learn safety, want to learn CPR? Like, is there a certain way?
Sometimes it's difficult.
Mhm.
Sometimes it is difficult. I've taught people in the grocery store,
Mhm.
you know, just talking, and they're like, "What do you do for work?" And I start telling them, and they're like, "Oh, I haven't been certified for so long. What are the new rules?" And I will teach them in the grocery store.
Really?
Oh yeah, I will go through it in the grocery store. It's a simplified thing, but it's what they need to know.
Yes.
And that's what I do wherever I go.
Yeah.
If I can give that knowledge to someone else, I will. If it's the right circumstances and they need to know. And I feel that they need to know for whatever's going on. I'll say, hey, when was the last time you were certified for CPR? Or have you ever been certified for CPR? Do you even know what CPR is?
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
They don't have it unless they've worked a job that has required them to do it.
Mhm.
They don't even think about family life outside of work. They don't think about things happening at home. They figure, I'll call the EMTs, but you know what?
Yeah.
In a situation with CPR, those people take 5 to 7 minutes on an average to get to a home or a business location. That's too long.
I agree.
That's too long if you have someone in CPR mode. You've got to start working on them immediately.
Is that why the American
Heart
Heart
Association
Association went to 30 to 2,
Yeah.
30 compressions to 2 instead of having it 15 to 2?
Yeah, 30 to 2 they found. What happens when you're doing compressions is you are basically working the body for itself. You're pushing the blood. When you push down, you are pushing the blood into the vital organs of that body. So you're working like for its heart to get that blood flow into those vital organs and keep things right.
Yeah.
And then there's less brain damage, there's less everything. Therefore, if you start CPR right away, a person after having a massive heart attack, you start CPR right away on that person before the EMTs even arrive.
Yeah.
They get there, they start doing their work that we as certified CPR people cannot do, medicine-wise and so forth.
Yeah.
They get them in their ambulance and they start working on their way. That person can leave the hospital 2 days later with very little consequences. that they've suffered because someone got on CPR right away.
Right away. Yeah.
You've got to work for the body.
Yeah.
If that blood isn't flowing to those vital organs, one of those vital organs is going to start shutting down. And you can't have that happen.
Yeah.
Even the brain, because it goes to the brain too.
Yeah.
And if you keep that blood pumping to that brain, they're not going to have brain damage like they would have if no one did anything for 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So the 30 is long compressions to just until the paramedics arrive.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's more like to keep them at a certain state.
Yes. Yes,
Until,
that's what you're doing. You're keeping that body at a certain state, so when those EMTs arrive and they produce what they know to do for that body, pretty much you've done very important things with the CPR, and then they get there and they start doing their thing. But there's lives that have been saved all the time from this. If people get on CPR right away, if people lay there and nobody reacts, and you're waiting for an EMT, chances are.
Yeah.
You know, and there's times too with CPR, even when you get on it, there is a time that maybe it won't work. But that has nothing to do with the person performing the CPR.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
People have a hard time understanding that and they take it internally. I did a school once and a young girl, she started running around in PE, around doing laps. Now nobody knew, except for the teachers ahead of time, that this little girl, she's now 7, but when she was young, she had a heart transplant. Well, now that she's older, she started doing PE and she dropped when she was running. My teachers, who I trained, went out and started doing their thing right away, like they should. And then they got their AED, which is an automated external defibrillator, which shocks the heart. Very important, too, to have one of those, if you can, even at home.
Yeah.
Because that is a great assistance to CPR. So they started shocking the heart. Well, she flatlined. And the lady that was the biggest performer in the CPR took it on herself that this child passed. And it was devastating to my heart because that's not what I want people to do. You cannot save everybody.
Yeah.
You know, this girl had a prior situation in her life that caused this heart to shut down. You know, and that woman, as hard as she worked, it wouldn't have mattered. That heart was done for whatever reason. So CPR, there will be those times where you may not save someone, but at least you tried, and that's what it's all about. That's all American Heart Association wants. Just try.
Try, yes.
Try. Gives me the chills.
Yes, it's such a fact, and that's something that a lot of people need to know. They need to know that. So they need to be ingrained in them.
Yes.
It's okay to try to save somebody's life.
Yes.
And don't look back. Just go for it. And
Yes. You can't do anything worse to that person. Like I've been trained, that body is basically dead at that point.
Yeah.
And our job is to keep it functioning, working,
Yes.
to keep those body parts working and those vital organs working, and that's what we do with our compressions. Now some bodies, if it's an extreme massive heart attack, the body just says no, you know? But it has nothing to do with that person's work at all.
Does that apply to does the 30 to 2 apply to infants as well?
30 to 2. If you're alone, it's 30 to 2 with infants as well, yes. If you have a partner helping you out, i.e. your spouse at home, if that person is giving breast to that baby and you are doing compressions to that baby, it becomes 15 to 2.
15 to 2.
Yeah, you cut it in half because you're working like a well-oiled machine. You're doing compressions, partner gives breast. Doing compressions, partner immediately gives breast. When you're doing it by yourself, there's seconds as you move to that mouth to give those breaths. But when you're doing it that rapidly, it has to knock down to 15 to 2. Same with a child. 2 people, 15 to 2.
I never really looked at it like that. So where, say somebody goes into cardiac arrest or something, or somebody drops and you check them and they're not responding, right away it's like you become a machine to save them.
Absolutely.
And you go into these techniques of basically a machine, to replicate a machine that they have
That's
at
right.
the hospital.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
never looked at it like that.
A well-oiled machine, that's what you're like too. When you're doing compressions and breaths by yourself, you just go and you just 30 to 2, and that's, 30 compressions to breaths, 30 compressions to breaths, and it's ongoing. And hopefully, usually there's other people around. And they can assist you then. Because it's tiring. You know, it's a very tiring thing at 30 to 2. And now it's gone up in 2016. It used to be 100 compressions a minute. Now it's 100 to 120 a minute.
Oh, wow.
So
Why do they keep raising it?
we're moving fast because they're finding that the better that blood gets pushed back out to those vital organs, we've got better saving of those organs in the brain. So that's what they're finding.
Makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that.
Oh, a lot of people don't know it.
I didn't know that.
A lot of people don't know it.
that.
And people have taken it years ago, and they tell me, oh, it's still 1 to 2. And I'm like, no. You know, 1 compression to 2 breaths. I'm like, no. I mean, because it's changed many a times, yes. But I think they're finding their niche here because the way lives have been saved and how they're finding the organs are also being saved, and the brain is being saved, and they're able to walk out of a hospital 2 days later like a normal human being that never went through that massive heart attack.
Yeah.
So that's
So
what
the
we're finding.
experiences,
Oh,
of all the stuff,
absolutely.
they're just upgrading.
Statistics, upgrading. Yeah, definitely. It's constant.
Yes.
And 30 to 2 is really good. We've had great outcome with that.
Good. Yes, and I mean, that's something that we really want to push here too. I think people need to know that. I mean, there's, like you said, there's other people who think that, oh, I'm just going to push down a couple of times and blow in his nose or his mouth all hard and push down all hard. They just don't know.
There's a technique.
Yes,
you know,
there is
a definite technique. I mean, there's a speed that you got to keep. You have to let that chest recoil, meaning go up before you push back down again. I mean, if you don't do these things, then the blood isn't getting pushed back out properly.
Yeah.
If you're doing it too fast, it isn't working.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why we keep these numbers. People have to remember these numbers because if they do their own numbers, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely, what I'm going to do is whenever we post the video up, I want to put up all this information up, and I want to lead them to you some way, somehow. How do people get a hold of you?
Well, my work phone number is area code 951-285-4721, and that's the best way at this point in time to get a hold of me because I'm on the road, and I will get back to anybody within 24 hours that has any questions.
Awesome. Yeah, we definitely want to promote you. We want to get you to train other people so we can have more yous around, because honestly, I tell you right now, at one point in time, I became you. I took all the knowledge that you had just given me through a couple hours of that class.
Yeah.
Like, saved me and my family an entire lifetime of heartache, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And people don't look at it that way.
No.
They just don't, and I wish they would, because that's the stuff that can transpire. You know, if you don't know, especially with infants, I mean, that is the biggest tragedy, to have an infant choking and you not know what to do, and turning blue in your arms.
Yes. Yeah.
And not having that EMT get there for 5 to 7 minutes.
Yes. And that's not their fault. They're just,
Absolutely
they're trying
not.
to get, you know.
They've done statistics layouts, American Heart Association, you know, if it's, you know, even, and they found that 5 to 7 minutes, even in a work location like LA, you know, because they find out how close fire departments are to business locations, and they run statistical runs on it. And that's what they came up with, was 5 to 7 minutes, and that's just too long. Too long not to have anything done. You've got to start something.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
For coming and talking to us and stuff, and we'd love to have you back.
Great.
Maybe next time you come, you could maybe just do a little demonstration.
Absolutely. I was going to say, bring a mannequin in. Yeah.
Okay. That'd be perfect.
I'll bring my mannequin in. I'll do it all for you. I have no problems with that at all. I would love to show people.
Yes.
Then they can just see how easy it is.
It's not that.
A lot of people think it's just too difficult. I don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
But it's not that difficult, you know. So you make it a little winded for a little while. But what kind of feeling would that be to know that you saved that person's life when you walk away?